So this week we are going to transform this wooden box into a fiberglass bathtub.
But before we can start the fiberglass, we still need to work on these three small pieces. I mean, small but tricky pieces. This is the drain, and this is where the cold and hot water come in the tub. And also, if we forget to turn off the water, that's where the water will leave. Instead of going over the bathtub, it's going to go through the pipe. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit tricky to install this on the plywood, but we're going to find a way, right?
Yeah.
So, let's get started. I'm Duca.
And I'm Roberta.
And together we are building our own time shipping container house.
So don't forget to subscribe
And to join us every Monday for a new episode. So we decide to do it here, right?
Yeah, we decided to put on the corner because the water can go from here to there.
So the main problem here is that the way this works, we need to open up a hole and need to be this thick, the fiberglass. But the plywood that we are using here is 18 millimeters thick. So that means that we need to create a recess, like we need to create a thinner plywood.
So now we have the hole here.
Yeah, I think that's good. So basically the idea is to have the diameter of this that I can go through, and I want this piece to be lower and not as thick. So that's the reason why I did two holes. The second one is just to use as a guide. So now I get the router and I trim as deep as I want in between both circles. Because now it's much easier for me to do a perfect circle because I don't need to cut the end, I just cut inside of the circle. Now we can do the same on the back to get the thickness we want, and here we can fill up with filler. That means that the water will go straight to where we want.
Hey,
So I choose the other side now, but I think that
that's pretty good.
the depth is pretty good, right?
Yeah. I think it's good, right?
We need to try.
Yep.
So basically the way this works is now I put these in here And now when we turn this, and now we are in level basically, and we can fill this with filler. What do you think?
That's perfect.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Now we take this off and we have the frame.
That's good. All we need to do is the resin now.
Actually, before we can do the resin, now we need to cut this part off.
Pretty good, right?
Now we need to create this one. Now this can go through here, and you're fine to work. That's pretty good.
Chocolate chips and memories, coffee and homemade cookies, they make me feel at home. Father, brother, mother dear, you're so far but feel right here no matter how far I go. There's love inside. There's love inside. Lazy boy, green and gold uniforms and a breezy colored autumn day. Phone a friend who's talking trash, or how's the team, and how's your dad, and how some things just never change. There's love inside. There's love inside. She felt the same, the words painted around the sides. Been too long since I've gone, but 3 days and 2 months, and I hold it closer every night. Say, there's love inside.
Yeah, today we are finally going to start the epoxy because raining is impossible to do epoxy, and now it's sunny, right?
Yeah. So let's start to make some epoxy and let's do it.
Before that, we still need to, we have some wood to work. It's still a small detail, a small wood detail.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Let's do it. basically the idea is that we're gonna have panels to turn this into a shower box, and the panel is gonna be, so basically the panel is gonna come like here. We could put straight to the frame of the wall like this, because here we're gonna have a wall and we can screw the panel to the wall. But in case of failure, if the water managed to go through in between both pieces of wood, it would go inside of the wall. So we decide to have this that we're actually gonna glue with epoxy resin, and we're gonna have fiberglass all around. So that means if the water fail, if this fail, and the water go through, it won't go inside of the wall. Yeah, it's basically gonna stop here. So this is just a safe thing to make sure that the water won't end up in the inside part of the wall. That's of course plan and theory, but it's gonna work.
That's it?
Yeah. So in order to create the angle, we got this plug from the cup drill, and we're gonna wait and see. It's easier. Yeah, it's hard to explain. We have a bathtub now.
Almost.
Yeah, I mean, like, we wish we could show you the bathtub white and perfect, smooth, but that's not reality.
No. It was raining a lot in the beginning of the week, so we had like one day just to do everything we have done.
Yeah, the thing is, resin doesn't go well with rain. Just won't dry. So
it.
Yeah, and if you want to do a good job, you just cannot do when it's raining, because otherwise it's not going to be a good job.
Yeah.
So as we want a good bathtub, that's the way to go.
I think we did a lot for one day, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, this white thing you see here is a filler. We did that before on the canopy. We can leave here, you can watch. Yeah, this is basically resin, epoxy resin with aerosol plus microsphere. And that's a really, really strong filler that to sand and get smooth is going to take a long time because it's really strong, but it's structural, and that's really good. But we won't make on time. So that's going to be for next week. So next week, basically, we need to sand this whole surface. I mean, right now, this is already watertight, almost 100% watertight. But to guarantee, we're going to sand the whole surface again, and we're going to have some fiberglass cloth, 2 layers on the bottom, and then we're going to apply more resin, and then we're going to sand again, and then we need to paint with primer, and then with the final color that we don't know which color it is yet.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot of work, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Hopefully, by next week we're gonna paint this.
Do you have an idea of which color we should use on it?
Yeah.
You don't have it.
Most of the bathtubs we see are white, but maybe we do like some different kind of white, not that white, a little bit.
Beige.
Yeah, a little bit towards like brown. Maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see, or maybe even white. We have until next week to decide.
Yeah.
So for this week, I guess that's it, right?
We have new patrons.
Oh, we have 3 new patrons
Yeah.
this week. That's pretty cool.
So welcome on board, Will, Jeff, and Gordon.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate the support.
Yeah.
And that's it. Hopefully, by next week.
We have a finished bathtub.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So see you guys next week.